Now the hood is more or less dry. As you can see, it has the nice rounded appearance of, for instance, an Arab style blocked hood without the complications of a gathered back. It's a very pleasing hood this. It's uncomplicated to make, it lasts a long time and looks particularly attractive. At this point, one point to notice is that the beak hole will look too large. This is because the hood is forced apart to go on the block. When it is off the block, of course, it's narrower, the big hole closes down. So don't let the fact that the big hole looks over large worry you. So we'll take it from the hood block now. It should remove easily with a little persuasion. And there we have a nice pleasing shaped hood. As you can see, now the beak hole isn't over large. I myself at this point, because I do this commercially, will put on a coat of lacquer. That isn't necessary. It's simply a cosmetic thing which we do to make all our hoods exactly the same. So at this point I'm going to put on a coat of lacquer. Now the hood will be given in total 2 coats of lacquer, one at this point and one at the end when all of the other parts of the hood are put on. The next part of the hood is the cutting of the rest of the components. The other 4 main components are, we need 2 pieces 10 inches long by, let's say, 7 or 8 millimeters wide, of the same leather that we cut the hood from. We need 2 of those. Those will become the braces. We need another piece about 10 inches long and 3 millimeters wide. This, of course, is the throat lash. We need another piece 10 inches long and 2 millimeters wide. This is the plume. So we'll deal with the 2 braces first. On one end of the 2 braces we need to cut a point. Start at one corner and cut for about 1.25 inches, which will give you a point. And again with the other one. On the other end of the braces we need 2 squared off flat ends, and for 15 millimeters down the brace we'll apply a thin film of glue. On the reverse side or the flesh side of the brace we need a thin film of glue. Contact glue is best for this. Now contact glue works in a simple way. When it becomes tacky or when it becomes dry, you can put the 2 surfaces together and they will glue. Now I've done this in real time and that is about 10 to 15 seconds. So if we fold the end of the brace over for about 7 millimeters. Again, the end of the brace over for about 7 millimeters. We do need this as flat as possible. My method of which I use to flatten this is with a hammer and a small steel block. And then you have a nice neat fold, double the thickness of leather. And there we have the two braces folded over at each end for about 7 millimeters. With the hole punch, we need a hole in the end of the brace. This of course will be becoming familiar to you now. It's the same method when making a jess. And the end of the brace we cut the point on, pass through, gently persuade it through till it folds, and pull it up tight to the familiar button. Obviously this is a small one, but similar to a jess. Again with the other one, fold the jess over, fold the brace over, persuade it through and pull it up tight. Now we need the slots in the braces, so with the two lying parallel, take your pen and your rule and 60 millimeters down the side of the jess, make a mark, the braces, make a mark. So as you can see, I've marked these two braces in red, 60 millimeters from the button end. With a sharp Stanley knife, you want in one brace a 15 millimeter cut, and in the other brace a 30 millimeter cut. I'm doing this by eye. Do please measure it. Bear in mind I have made thousands of these. Now the next part you don't need to do if you don't wish to. We always like to fold our braces over. It makes them neater, and the way you do this is to apply a thin film of glue above the mark that you drew on the brace. Make sure it's evenly spread and allow a few seconds for this to cure. And once it's cured, what we're looking to do is fold the brace over in the familiar rounded kind of brace. As you can see from the top part of both slits that you cut in the braces, what we've done is apply a film layer of glue and simply fold over so you get the familiar rounded effect on this portion of the brace. Now, at this point the braces are finished and we don't need to deal with them anymore until we place them in the hood. Now we're going to deal with the plume. It's a very simple thing to do. The strip of leather, which we cut about 10 inches by 2 millimeters, we fold in half and we cut it in half. What we're looking to do is to find the centre of one of these pieces of leather. Simple to do, fold it in half and mark the centre. And where you've marked, you apply a small amount of glue, approximately 5 millimeters along the leather over the point you marked. And what we'll do now is lay the other piece on top so they're glued together in the centre portion only. Now what I like to do is the part that we've glued together, I like to flatten. Again, this is done with a small steel block and hammer. The reason being, the flattened part is the part which will be inside of the hood. So we have 4 tails, and in each of those 4 tails you cut a point. And that's as much as we need to do with that for now. Now we'll deal with the throat lash. This part is about 4mm wide and 10 inches long. On one end we will cut a point and then carefully thread it through the holes around the hood, starting from either side, but the first hole starting from the inside out. Gently coax it through. Leave about 5mm to secure it when we're finished with the lash. Now if you punch the right amount of holes, the lash will finish on the other side of the hood on the inside. Some of the holes you might have to coax open a little, simply so that you do not have to put too much pressure on when you're threading it through. You could of course dye the throat lash the same colour as the hood if you wish. We tend to think it makes a nice contrast. Now if you just tidy up and flatten down the throat lash with a lot of pressure on your fingers if you can manage, or